Time now for everyone's favorite segment of the week. It is time.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans.
Where'd you put the questions, Frank?
Ladies and
gentlemen,
the moment has arrived to hear from
I mean, it's only been like 4
himself,
weeks.
Ariel
Let's not
Helwani.
pretend that it's been like a 4-year
Live
affair.
from the Fox Studios in beautiful New York City, it's On the Nose.
That's how you're going to celebrate the
to answer your questions,
anniversary?
Get out of your seats and
been
on your
4
feet
weeks.
because here he
Well,
is.
it confused me because you titled the document 10/16/2023, but it's 10/18. So I thought maybe this was for Monday's show.
I've been thinking it was the 16th.
Okay. This is from Great Diaz up first. Great Diaz this side. First of all, appreciate you being part of the influencer boxing card. It makes the event much more familiar for MMA fans like me. That's very kind of you. Second, with all these talks about UFC 300, how would you build a real... Can we stop with the UFC 300 questions, Frank? I mean, come. How many times am I going to answer UFC 300 card questions? Seriously. I feel like I've answered this
we're just
10
checking
different
to see
times.
if your answer's going to change.
Jeez. If you truly... guys, have we answered the UFC 300 card question at least 5 times now? This is what's leading us off with everything going on. This is the one? Frank, you were on such a roll, Frank. Does anyone...
You're just going to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
This is it. I might even cancel this whole segment. Rick, who do you want to see headline UFC 300? I think I've actually answered this 10 times.
Don't care. Like, honestly, anything I say now is subject to change.
It's too early.
Out. It's too early to say anything. The UFC schedule doesn't work like that.
You know what,
So-
Frank? Who do you want to see? I think that's a better question to ask. Who do you want to see headline UFC 300?
Me personally? McGregor and Chandler.
Okay, there you go. Conor McGregor, Chandler. He's saying build a realistic main card. Surprise fights. Imagine they did UFC 300 and didn't announce a single fight on the card, just like we're doing for our live show November 10th at City Winery. We're not announcing a single guest. And imagine their music just played. Wouldn't that be crazy? But actually, the weigh-ins would have to be public.
It's just so impossible at this point.
I know, but it would be freaking nuts. Imagine you're sitting and you're like, that's Paulo Costa's music.
Dillon Danis' music, baby.
What is Dillon Danis' music?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What is
whatever it came out
anyone's
to.
music? I feel like there's only a handful.
I mean, there's a
of
few
people.
people.
Songs.
Yeah.
A few.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so fine. Even if you don't know the music, like the moment you see them walking out, you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
it'd be amazing.
shit.
Be crazy.
Here's freaking Volk. And there's Ilya Taporia. Wow. Something like that.
That would actually be crazy. Maybe not on UFC 300, but if they just did a pay-per-view or
By the way,
like a little mystery box.
Yo, if the Apex cards were a mystery box card,
it'd be way cooler. It'd be way cooler. Now, that would eliminate betting. You couldn't bet on it, but it would be...
live betting,
fun.
micro betting.
Well, nah, I mean,
That's
betting.
Jennifer Maya's music. And who is she going? She's pacing the cage. She's waiting for her opponent. Oh my God. They actually made it happen. Viviane Araújo. Are you kidding me? Pandemonium at the Apex. Wow.
I mean, like, could you even name, like, Ilya Taporia's music?
No, but it'll be something. I think he comes out to something Spanish, no?
See.
I don't know. Like, I know Volk's music.
Oh, yeah. I'm coming from a land down under. That's it, right?
Yeah, they're like, when I really think about it, that like might be.
No.
McGregor's obvious.
Izzy doesn't have.
He changes it up.
Yeah. I like
Alex
that.
Pereira's got some like, it's like a
Oh, imagine.
tribal.
What's O'Malley's music again? The Superstar?
Oh yeah.
Imagine that hits. Oh my God. Sean O'Malley, Marab Dawalishvili on one day's notice.
Well, the Volishvili would be the blue corner, so I have no idea what song he walks out to.
Imagine the freaking Hawaiian kickboxer plays. There's Max Holloway.
Are they doing this like the voice that you're like the
Yeah.
Are they doing that for every single one, or is it like
It would
only
be
the
so
big ones?
exciting.
Or
It would be so exciting. There's Henry Cejudo. And who's he going to face? It's Corey Sandhagen has music, right?
and
He
then
has
DJ's
music, I
hits
don't
and
know
No,
a
I
what
feel
tag
like
team match.
I feel like he has like. Doesn't he have a song, Corey Sandhagen, or am I crazy?
Probably, but like I don't know. There's just I don't know many of these guys' songs by heart.
And then the craziest lighthearted music hits and you know it's tied to Ivasa, he's coming down.
Oh
and,
yeah, Celine Dion. My Heart Will Go On. What's Jones's music?
yeah,
Jones had some music. The champ is. Oh, could you imagine?
yeah.
The champ is here. And then
You know what? Obviously, this is not going to ever happen for a laundry list of reasons. But what would be interesting is you don't really know who's the main event. So let's say it's up to the co-main and you think that's the main event, but then Jones's music hits and there's actually another fight and it's a bigger fight. That'd be pretty
What's
cool.
the one song that would elicit the biggest pop? Would it be Connor's music?
Anderson Silva, Ain't No Sunshine.
Not Connor.
That'd be pretty cool.
Not the Foggy Dew. If that hit,
I mean,
it's the Connor
yeah.
for sure. Come on. If
I
you
guess-
don't
I
know who's
guess
on the
Connor,
card
but
and you
like-
show up to this thing and then you hear the Foggy do and it's just like, I mean, the whole place would go insane.
Yeah, but what if then it's Ian Gary? What if Ian Gary just pops out instead of
nah,
Connor?
he's not gonna go out to that.
I feel like you gotta
No,
associate the
no,
music only.
no.
And Ian Gary gets out, the place would
Ian
boo.
Gary walking out.
The place would boo the fuck out of the place.
Get out of him.
Somebody could do that as a troll. They could come out to Connor's music and they're just
That's
like
not bad.
No,
completely
you would get
unrelated.
booed.
You would get
your
instant
shit
heel
booed
heat.
out.
Yeah, he.
It's not bad. What if it's zombie, and he freaking comes out? Oh my god! What if it's zombie coming out, but he's acting as manager for the Iron Turtle?
All right, this is so pro wrestling now. It's just ridiculous.
By the way, there's a guy on Twitter named K-Rot, who says he wants to be the translator for the Iron Turtle interview. Just got this right now. So.
Shout out, sign him up. That's gonna be big number. Special edition Tuesday show.
Oh yeah. By the way, I was a little hard on Great Diaz, but it did turn out to be a fun question. So,
What about
Yeah.
the first part of his statement?
oh, it was very nice.
Okay.
Is that why you kept
kind
it?
of glossed over that?
No, that's classic human nature, right? Like
To just
we
ignore
fixate.
the nice part?
Yeah. No, that's on me. That's on me. Thank you for leading off.
Remember that when you go into the second question.
Dubinsky, Ariel, do you think the UFC will always be the powerhouse that it is today? Will it continue to grow and be the MMA leader? Or could you foresee a different promotion ever taking the lead? P.S. I love New York Rick's takes. Always hits the nail on the head. Wow. How about that? There he is.
I mean, what more needs to be said? Legend.
I can't, unless some disaster happens, some shocking turn of events, I don't think that we will see for a very long time someone overtake the UFC. Something truly unfathomable, something catastrophic would have to happen. And even if something catastrophic happened to the UFC, like a serious injury or like I don't even know what could be truly there would be a trickle-down effect to the rest of the sport because they are the leader. They are the Kleenex, the Xerox, the gold standard. They are the brand that everyone associates. They're the leader. They put on the best fights and the best – like there's just – it's going to take a real – it would be like, is the CFL going to overtake the NFL? Or is the XFL going to overtake the NFL? Or is the EuroLeague going to take over the NBA? Or is, I don't know. Is MLS going to take over Premier League? That might be the best example of them all. It's just not going to happen anytime soon. Finn, hi everyone. Question for GC. What are your thoughts on live betting in between rounds and the like? Also, I thought you might appreciate that I was recently paid out $100 after I bet the Costa Chimaev fight wouldn't happen immediately after it was announced. You're a fan from Norway. What about that?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Shout out to Norway, first and foremost.
Is that even a thing? I didn't even know that you could do that.
It had to have been on like some sort of offshore book that offered it.
Yeah.
What a great bet. I mean, what did he say the odds on it?
No, he didn't. Not in this question.
Offshore Burks. That
Yeah.
should be the name of a.
Sorry.
Offshore Burks is a
It's
great
one of your
name.
betting podcasts.
That is a great name, by the way.
I like that. Nice. A little slip of the tongue there. Gets us a new name. Yeah. shout out
Live
to
betting,
him.
he's asking
Great
about.
bet. Yes, live betting. Yeah, I mean, it's a great way if you feel confident inside. I mean, there's a lot of time that those odds are skewed. Like, especially it feels like someone will get favored way too heavily too early on, and then they'll end up losing the fight. So yeah, I mean, like it's a great option if you can pay attention. Like it takes a lot of effort to like have it up and like know when to pull the trigger. Like it can be difficult, it can be tricky, but yeah. If you're good at it, like you can really, really capitalize.
Isn't that what better is, by the way?
I want to say better is like you're betting on specific, like if you're betting on a football game, you're betting on like specific plays, like the next play or the next drive, next series.
But isn't that like Better's thing? It's all about live betting. Isn't that like their?
Probably. I've never used it before.
Oh, you haven't.
No.
And when I say better, I mean like the Jake Paul thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
BETR.
BTR, because they call it micro betting, right?
Yeah, which is why I think you're betting on like individual plays and everything.
Oh, so it's even like more, yeah. Can you do micro betting for MMA? Like, will this guy win the round?
I've never seen that. No.
That'd be kind of crazy, right? Like, you're watching the first round, and then will Volk win the second round?
Right.
That's crazy.
But it's essentially is what you can do. Like not that small, but you can be like, will Volk win the fight from here? Like, I mean, you can.
Yeah.
You can really capitalize.
That's fun.
on it.
That's fun. I like that. All right. Abay, our boy Abay. Hello, Ariel. You mentioned the conflict of interest of the UFC employing someone to be independent arbiter. Totally agree. And by the way, there's more to that. Like someone even sent me on the UFC career. This is about the drug testing thing. First of all, one thing that I may not have mentioned, any situation, I think I did mention this, but any situation, even with this guy, George Piro, who seems like, a bastion of ethics, truth, whatever. Forget the ATT thing. If he is being paid by the UFC, there's an inherent conflict of interest. Anytime the UFC or any entity is paying, even though the intentions are good, and even though it's better than anything else that any other fight promotion is doing, it's still a conflict of interest. It still is. Ultimately, they're paying the entity. They're cutting the check. That's just like money affects things. So anyway, it seems to me the UFC wants to move away from strict liability and adopt a system based on discretion and whether they believe a fight's intended to gain an advantage. Hunter Campbell spoke about judging if a fighter intended to gain an advantage or whether they received the benefit of the substance they take. I mean, it's so hard. This kind of reminds me of like when they determine if an illegal strike is intentional or not. It's almost impossible. But anyway, he also told several stories of fighters that he strongly believed didn't intend to take what they tested positive and referenced whether anyone really believes Diaz would use PEDs. No, I don't think anyone does, but it was in the substance that he took. And, I don't know. Should it be stricter or should it be less strict and more lenient? There's an argument to be made. It's a tough gig. It really is. It really is a tough gig. There are some people who say take whatever you want or should take whatever you want. There's some people who say there shouldn't be a 6-month testing period. And I've never really, it's not my domain. I always found it weird that like someone like Conor has to do the 6-month thing, but if they sign me to fight this weekend, I'm not 6-month in the pool. So where's the difference there? So anyway, he also told several stories. Okay, yeah. Shouldn't this be relevant? Seems reminiscent of Simon Jordan's criticism, shout out, of the idea that Matchroom could provide their own testing through drug-free sport, particularly given how convinced Hearn was that Ben was innocent. Yeah, of course. Of course the promoter is going to try to back their stars. There's so many conflicts here. Now, again, I will reiterate, doing something is better than nothing. Anytime. I would love to see things changed. I would love to see the fighters have more of a say. I'd love to see them be able to speak up about when they're tested, how many times they're tested, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I would never pretend to be some sort of expert on what should be tested, how much should be allowed, thresholds and things of that nature. I'll leave that to the experts. But like, come on, that press conference where they're doing the whole like tough and like, we are not going to stand for this. And, calling the kettle black about things, that USADA is doing when you told us for 8 years that they were the gold standard. Now, all of a sudden, because they came out with a press release, oh, wait, actually, this reason, that reason, this reason, that reason. Like, come on. You can't do that. You can't tell us for 8 years that they were the gold standard and that it's all in their hands and that they're better than the government and all this stuff. And then because they come out with one press release that you didn't like, now all of a sudden they're scumbags. Andrew, hey Ariel, after listening to your interview with Ray and him explaining what happens when he loses his mask, I couldn't help but think, does he not have the perfect exit when it's time? Dom versus Ray 2 and Dom wins and takes the mask and that sets up perfect the end for Ray and beginning for Dom, or beginning of a new chapter. Would love to hear your opinion. Much love from Western Massachusetts. 1,000%. It's Dom versus Ray, hair versus mask. Dom wins, takes the mask, and runs with it. The issue is Dom has become such a big star, he doesn't really need the mask. And one might say that the mask would change his whole persona and demeanor. Who knows how he evolves over time. but what a superstar he is. And you know there's going to be one more. And I hope they don't overdo it. The next time they meet, it's got to be at WrestleMania 40, and maybe that's the retirement match. And if it's not time for Rey to retire, maybe it's at 41. But the retirement fight match, whatever, has to be against Dom. I mean, it's just too perfect. G. Hi, Ariel and the team. Love the show. As someone who wants to be one of the best interviewers in the game and in sports, do you ever worry when interviewing through a translator that your tone or the intent behind the question won't translate into another language easily? Has this ever affected, or has this ever led a relationship with a fighter as they felt your questioning came across in a way that you might not have intended? No, I've never had that happen to me, and I don't really think of that. The only thing I think of when it's a interview through an interpreter or a translator is like it doesn't flow as well, right? You ask, they receive the question, they translate, person answers, then it's translated back to me. It just takes a little bit longer, and things get lost in translation, emotion, feeling, things of that nature. That's my only concern, but not things being misinterpreted or like things getting lost in translation, so to speak. Shout out to GC for his Retro United kit. Bit so much the city merch. Cheers, G from Glasgow. You got a lot of heat for that. Dare I say maybe like the few times you've ever gone true heat, GC, for this flip-flopping.
Yeah. I expected it, though. I welcomed it.
No,
You
know what? I saw that, and I give you a lot of credit. Even our friend Alex Hainsey, he was in the comments.
Listen, that guy can make promos. I mean, it was, but when it comes to
leave the fashion advice.
when it comes to football, I mean, I support the city of Manchester.
Yeah.
When Manchester wins, I win.
Is there like who's like the rival team in Georgia to Georgia?
This would be like Georgia and Georgia Tech.
Would you ever do that?
No, absolutely not. Never. I mean, if I saw someone do it, it would be blasphemy.
You would hate that. Yeah.
So I see why they got bothered, why they hate it, but I don't care.
Okay. Patrick, favorite segment of the week? 2 quick questions. Ariel, if Dillon Danis or Dillion, why do people call him Dillion, were to come over to the UFC, do you think he could beat any of the top 15 guys at welterweight? Who's top 15? Anthony Hernandez? No, wait. That's middleweight. Michael Chiesa, Neil Magny, Kevin Holland, Jack Della? I feel comfortable saying at this juncture, no. Agree or disagree, gents?
Yeah,
Everyone went to the bathroom again?
I think so.
Cool. I'll say no. I'm trying to include everyone, but I keep
appreciate
getting left
it,
hanging here. GC, is he there?
Yeah, right here, brother.
Okay. Just ask you a question.
I mean, you were just going to answer that one.
Well, no,
I thought that was for the whole class, and
what,
Yeah,
felt
why
like I
did
was
Rick
taking the
not say anything?
spotlight. Yeah, I mean, Rick's sitting there. I mean, he's, there he is.
GC, break the fourth wall. What was it
Yes.
like traveling across the pond with Ariel, and how big of a star is Ariel in Manchester? Please tell them.
Wow, this is actually great. It was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, the flight out there was easy as can be. Shout out to Virgin. Flew by. Felt like we caught the tailwind or whatever it is. Got up in the stratosphere and just breezed right along. Only took us like 5.5 hours. Star power is pretty big. Quite a few people. I took a lot of pictures, which you seem to take issue with. You're more.
Oh, I had a big problem. Yeah.
So,
Well, it was very kind of you, but anytime someone would come up, you would say, "Hey, want me to take the picture?"
Yeah,
Which is actually
everyone's trying to take these terrible selfies.
No,
and
I
I'm
like the
just
selfie.
I'm standing right here with my hands in my pockets. You want me to just take the picture?
quick in and out selfie. Let's do it. Here's my big issue, and it's actually something that I talked to my wife about because she says the same thing. It's a very kind thing to say. I'm not hating on you for that, but let's be honest. The phone, probably the grossest thing out there. Everyone takes it into the bathroom. Who knows who's washing, what they're doing? I'm not too, I'm not touching anyone's phone. People ask me to take a, nope, no, thank you. So you're just like willingly asking to touch people's gross phone.
Happy to do it.
I mean, it's a nice gesture, but I just say, like, let's take the selfie and move on with our
Builds
lives.
the immune system.
I'll take a picture with anyone.
Yeah. So yeah, you pulled the old. I get that a lot, but that's not me.
Which one?
That's how he said it.
Oh, I did that move. Yeah, it's a fun
Yeah.
move. Well,
It
because
is a
they
fun
say,
move,
"Are
but
you
it's
Ariel?"
different.
And then I say, "No, I get that a lot." It's
Yeah.
I feel like it makes for a good memory.
No, I think
I'm
it's fine.
Drake. Feel like I get Drake.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I
I'll say,
think
"Tell me about this Ariel guy. Do you like him?" Oh yeah, he's great. Okay, then it's me. I'll pull out the ID.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much anywhere. Restaurants, coffee shops, going to the arena. I mean, leaving the arena with you and Ade, it was just like, sheesh. It was like the paparazzi was there.
Yeah, no, that was fun. Well, you say Addy is as big of a deal as I am over there.
What is this? You want you
No, I
make me
just-
choose one of you? One
No,
of you
I
two? I
just
mean, this
thought-
is ridiculous.
Okay, no,
He's getting a lot of love.
Okay, yeah, no, he's big in the UK. He's the
Doesn't
man.
necessarily mean he was getting as much love as you.
Okay.
And then the traveling, the back, it was it let us know where we stood. I went to row like 72.
You were sitting next to some
you
famous
were-
people.
in row 2.
Yeah.
You had the full bed.
Oh, it was a good bed.
I got like a dingy cup of tea.
No, it was
For
good.
the
It was good.
7
Tortellini,
hours.
we had tortellini.
Yeah, tortellini. My stomach's rumbling as I.
A nice
Take the way
carrot
off the corner.
confit. I
Wow.
texted you. I said if you want anything.
Oh, I couldn't afford the Wi-Fi in the back. 21 pounds.
Oh yeah,
Not
yeah.
cheap.
It wasn't cheap. When they brought out the ice cream after the dessert, that's when I said no mas. And it was like those big ice creams.
How many hot
What about-
towels did they bring out?
Oh,
Yeah.
the hot towels. Were
How
great.
was happy hour at the first?
Oh, there was an actual bar. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
an actual bar.
Did they let you fly the
They wouldn't
plane a
even-
little bit too? Or?
No.
They wouldn't even let me look in first class.
No.
Close
They were
the
like, sir,
curtain?
your seat's to the right.
Riff-raff.
Your seat's
That's
to the
riff-raff.
right. Sorry. Your seat H, they don't even have H
Yeah.
in first class. It only goes up to C.
That's
So
riff-raff.
yeah, that was a divide.
There has to
Nice
be
dividing line.
separation. Like what?
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is a free for all.
Yeah. Gordon Ryan was in the back.
I wasn't going to name names, but
Oh,
I guess you are.
I mean, you mentioned it.
I said famous people. I didn't say
no,
who.
but
it
you
was.
said it to Craig Jones.
I said he was on the plane with him. I didn't say where he was sitting.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine.
I mean, he got it paid for by Logan Paul. So
That's
I
true.
mean, you'd have to assume, right? So it's not.
You think Chris Hansen was flying first?
We did see Chris Hansen in the airport too.
What's the name of his new network again?
True Blue.
True Blue. That's
And
right.
his show Takedown. with
Takedown.
Chris Hansen.
Have a seat. Have a seat, Dylan.
That might have been the funniest part.
By the way, Dylan knowing that he had tax
Unbelievable.
problems or apparently like that, I was actually impressed that he knew so much about Chris Hansen.
I thought Dylan played that perfectly.
Yeah.
Knew the tax problems and like also ripped on like, is this actually Chris Hansen? Because he looks very old.
Even the Gordon part, he played off well. Next question from my longtime, very, very good friend, Jason Tackifman. How about this? Old Tack in the house. Tack actually got me back into pro wrestling in 1997 when we were both failing our driver test. Was telling me about the Survivor Series coming to Montreal in 1997. We were at Henri Bourassa driving test station in Montreal. And
Failing?
What? Yeah, we were. Oh, yeah. You know about this. I failed the written part twice. Got it on the third try. Failed the practical part 4
What, the
times.
bicycle, or-
Got it on the 5th try. 8 times I had to go. I think Tech just failed once or twice. Anyway, he told me about Survivor Series coming. We went to Survivor Series. We saw the screw job. Best buds ever since. He writes, Unk, why do you think fans are so upset over influencer boxing becoming a thing? All of this is on pay-per-view, so fans don't have to buy it. They can mute certain words online and not watch the interviews on yours and other shows. I would think in other sports where you spend a monthly fee on RSN, cable, or even season tickets would elicit more rage as they are losing on sunk money. Kind of weird, no? I think the people who are upset about it are the same ones watching it. I think some people might get mad like when our show talks about it or if it dominates their feed or if they say, more attention should be paid to Sadiq Youssef and Edson Barbosa. But ultimately, you only see them truly get mad after the fact because then it's okay. Then it's safe to talk shit about it. It's something that the kids, I do believe, online call virtue signaling. They say, after the fact, I'm so disgusted at anyone who bought this. Or how dare you? Shame on you. I'm disappointed. Oh, this was a shit show. Oh, that was better. Anyone watching this is ruining combat sports. It's safe to do that after the fact. You don't hear it as much before the fact. And some people, I think, get upset that, that they were trolled or duped into fighting it. into watching it. Excuse me. I would say, like, we know what it was. Obviously, there's levels. Some fights can turn out to be fun. Some could turn out to be stinkers. Canelo Charlo was a stinker. This happens. Let's not pretend that every fight is entertaining. Let's not pretend that every fight delivers. And you may feel some sort of way about it, but I know exactly what I'm watching. And I don't mind it. I can compartmentalize it. I would never dare compare Logan Paul, Dillon Danis to, I don't know, Haney Prograis or something like Spence Crawford. And I would never dare compare Perry Alvarez to Volkanovski Islam. Like, everything is different. Not everything is the same. But yet some people make that mistake. And I said on Monday, like, the big lesson is this isn't for us. And then I saw someone saying, like, here's Ariel saying it's not for us, yet he talks about it so much. Let's be fair here. You don't see us breaking down, like, the tag team box. I say it's fun, but that's it. We're talking about people who have, connections to the MMA world. When Jake Paul fought KSI the first two times, I didn't talk about it on my shows. There was no real connection to our world. But then once he started to go after the MMA fighters, then it became a bit more of a story, and dare I say, a bigger story in our world than in the boxing world. Same with Dillon. And, then there's a trickle-down effect. I know we don't just talk about MMA here, but, like, there's, you understand why we talk about it here. We're not talking about Dean the Great versus Waleed Sharks 2. As great as that was, maybe one day we will devote more time to that. But, I think we're pretty consistent in how we cover the crossover boxing world. And I don't really understand why people get so worked up over it. I said on Saturday and, it was Sunday and Monday, that I think that there's a lot of, disingenuous people out there that are just trying to curry good favor with other powers that be with their tweets, and that's fine. But I enjoy it for what it is, and then I'm back to the regular stuff the following week. Juan Sanchez, hello Ariel and crew. Quick question for this week pertaining to UFC 294. In a hypothetical situation where Alex Volkanovski turns down the fight against Islam, who would have been next in line? Would they have gone straight to Gamrot, Gaethje, Poirier, Chandler? They would have gone to Gamrot. He's the backup fighter, and he was ready to go, and I think they would have gone straight to Gamrot. I don't think the other guys were ready to go, and Chandler has the big Conor fight coming up as well. Brendan, hey Ariel, first time, long time. Does Tyson Fury have a rematch clause versus Francis? Remember when Francis was on last time? I did ask him about this, and he did imply that there was some sort of rematch clause. It's a little bit up in the air. It's a little bit not 100% clear, but he implied that there was a rematch clause of some kind. We shall see. Say Francis KOs him in the first round. What would you expect to happen next? That's a very good question. I suspect they would rematch. Do you guys agree? I mean, Rick, if Francis KOs Tyson, they're not going to go to the Usyk fight, right? They're gonna 100% rematch.
Yeah, they'll run it right back, no doubt. I mean, forget the perspective of, like, Francis is entering the world and outside the boxing world, and obviously Usyk and Fury is a collision course that was bound to happen. But just, like, monetarily, how do you have a bigger fight than Francis versus Fury 2 if Francis knocks out Tyson? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, obviously that's what you do because it's just the biggest possible fight that could be made. Business wise, you'd be silly to leave that on the table. You run it right back, make the money, and then if Fury does it, maybe you move on to Usyk, or maybe you do a third fight. Figure that out. But maybe we finally coax Tyson into that artificial, like, 4-ounce gloves in a cage nonsense that he's always kind of prattling on about. But yeah, you absolutely run it right back. I don't see a world where if Francis wins, that it is not an immediate rematch.
What is your level?
And Usyk just boxes somebody else. It'll be fine, just like they've been doing.
What is your level of excitement? Here we are 10 days out.
Not very high.
Yeah.
It hasn't been very visible. There's been a lot of other stuff going on. It's kind of been hard to cut through the noise.
Do you see the tweets? Do you see the tweets everywhere?
The promos,
yeah.
The promos are good, but I think we kind of just need to see them. Like, it needs to get to fight week, and we need to see the two big boys next to each other.
We need a spark. We need a press conference. We need more than just cool promos. We need.
Yeah,
Listen,
I don't know if
there's
a press
one thing,
conference is going to.
if there's one thing Dillon Danis and Logan Paul taught us, if there's one thing that Nate and Connor taught us, and all these, you need to be emotionally invested. That's the key ingredient. It
Sure.
can't just be this guy versus this guy. Sometimes the special ones, okay, because we're already emotionally invested in the characters. But it can't just be more often than not, because then it's just another night at the Apex. Then it's just another night, of kickboxing on ESPN2 at midnight. You have to be emotionally invested in the story, in the characters, in the beef, in the buildup. There has to be. It can't just be this guy versus this guy.
So let me ask you right now, sitting here 10 days out.
Yeah.
I didn't do the math. I'm taking your word for
Yeah,
it.
it's the 18th.
What is the story of this fight?
The story.
What is it? What is it currently?
The story of this fight right now, as I see it, is Francis Ngannou trying to shock the world in a unpredictable life that he has lived, where he shouldn't even be here. He bet on himself. Like, this is 1,000% an MMA story, in my opinion. This is the story of Francis shocking the world. This is the story of Francis betting on himself and battling the UFC and becoming a free agent, and everyone saying he couldn't. And the whole thing that we've dealt with over the past year, since January, when he came on the show and was unceremoniously, quote unquote, released, even though he wasn't, from the UFC. That's the story. There's nothing else. Like, Tyson has nothing to prove against Francis. Francis has something to prove against Tyson. Tyson is using this as the bridge to get to Usyk. This is a payday for Tyson. This is legacy for Francis Ngannou. I feel like I could sell this damn fight better than anyone else. Do you understand what I'm saying? Francis is trying to do something
but I feel like that's a complicated story to sell to people.
But that is the story.
Who don't know for sure. But that's a complicated story to sell to anybody who's not us, right? Who followed Francis's journey already. I would if I was Francis, I would take a very simple approach, which is next week I would be beating the drum about playing spoiler. I would make the very simple connection
Shock
of
the world.
This guy's looking past me. I'm gonna make sure that he does not walk into a ring to fight Usyk. I'm gonna make sure, even if I lose, I'm gonna put this guy through so much hell that he's not gonna be able to crawl into a ring with Usyk, and just make that simple story. And maybe you can sell people on that.
Francis Ngannou has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever, and that's beating Tyson Fury when he already has a fight booked to become the undisputed heavyweight champion. In what's supposed to be a gimmick fight, it could end up being his first career loss ever and block him from taking the Usyk fight, which would just be so ridiculous.
So I get where you're coming from, but I feel like that's a micro way of looking at this fight, and I like to look at stories. I like to look at the entire build, and this to me is the conclusion of a story that has been playing out for 2 years. This is the conclusion of the Ciryl Gane fight, in my opinion. This is the whole thing. The whole thing was based on this guy as champion going into the final fight of his contract on a bum knee, and them praying and doing everything in their power to get him to drop the belt. And he didn't. And he defied the odds. And then he had to sit out and have surgery. And then they tried to come to a deal and they couldn't. And he wanted to box it and smear his name and all this stuff. And then he gets free with no fight. It's not like he was freed with a fight. And then it's like, oh, you're going to fight Derek Chisora, or you're going to fight something. Remember all that? And now he's fighting Tyson.
Yes, but
so that's
my
what gets
point
me
is
excited.
this is very
the Usyk
this
thing
is very complicated and for a very small audience.
But that's
it's for us only.
No, I understand that, obviously. But the Usyk thing is something that happened recently. If they want to try and sell this fight to the macro, it's baddest man on the planet, the first time ever. This world, that world comes together. Let's see. That's the easiest way to sell this. I don't think that's enough at this point, especially when you're booking the Usyk fight and you're calling that, the baddest man on the planet fight. And so for our world, I'm just talking about for the MMA audience and to the audience that I primarily speak to, we are emotionally invested in the Francis Ngannou story. I think most people are, wishing him the best and have been watching him for a long time. And we've been dealing with this up and down roller coaster for quite some time. That's the intrigue here. Tyson Fury fighting, some guy doesn't necessarily appeal to the general and casual MMA fan. But our guy, Francis Ngannou, going in there, that's the story, in my opinion. I understand what you're saying. I understand that it's complicated, but that's where we're at right now. Because there hasn't been a face-to-face, right? They haven't done that. There hasn't been great promotional material of them talking. There's great promos, but not like them talking shit or them saying this or that, and you're a bum and I'll wipe the floor with you and I got you, I'm going to knock you out in a round. Like, there hasn't been that. There's no heat. You need the heat. And And
I
so,
think you need the heat for sure. And I think you need everything you said, but I think you need to focus it into something that he hasn't successfully done, in my opinion, yet, which is you need to convince people why you're going to win this fight. He's kind of not like done a great job of that. I don't think there's anybody whose
Francis?
opinion's been swayed. Yeah.
yeah,
Francis needs,
but that's
like,
Francis, right?
think about what Dillon Danis did, right? Dillon Danis sucks, like, as a boxer. I'm no means indicting his jiu-jitsu or what he's able to do in MMA thanks to his jiu-jitsu base. But like, nobody is confused about the idea that Dillon Danis cannot box. But he was able to convince people, hey, this is going to be a fight. Tune in for this. We're going to do something. I've pressed his buttons enough that he's going to want to hurt me and I'm going to hurt him, and it's going to be, and he convinced people to do that. Francis has not done that next step. Like, all this stuff that we're talking about is all the past. This was his road to here, but he needs something this week, this coming week, or even this week or whenever, that convinces people that Francis Ngannou has a chance in hell to win this fight. Because I don't think he's done that yet. I think he's kind of not done much to sway people's opinions.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's not a trash talker, right? And so that's why I'm trying to.
It doesn't even need to be trash talk. It could, I don't know what it is.
He just
like,
doesn't.
His figure is pretty imposing. Maybe there's enough, like, they were posing in suits last time. Maybe it's just even the face off. When you see that dude chiseled out of freaking stone, looking like he can lift up the world on his shoulders, and Tyson Fury flabby,
Fury
maybe that's going to be
Fury was
enough.
shirtless, remember? The belly?
Yeah, but Francis wasn't.
No, I know. Well, let's see
So
how
maybe
next week goes.
Maybe that could be it. You know, like, there's got to be something where people go, okay, I'm buying it. Francis has a shot here. So he needs some people to believe that.
Look, most fights really like go into extra gear on fight week because there's just so much going on, and we're all preoccupied with 294. Let's see how next week goes. They obviously have a lot of plans for this Riyadh season. You know, they have WWE massive event the following week, and they just signed UFC and obviously Usyk, and I know there's other things as well. So let's see what they have in store for us. That press conference, the first one, was absurd. The promos have been absurd. Let's see what kind of, you know, things they pull out of their hat for this. Last one, moderator Lewis, the man. Ariel, during my tenure as moderator of On the Nose, I was big on acknowledging anniversaries, celebrations, and milestones. We are officially 1 month into the reign of moderator Frank. This may interest no one else, but I would love to know his thoughts, if he's enjoying it, and have him take us behind the Frank lens. He loves that. Love as always, Lewis, moderator emeritus. Frank, your thoughts?
I mean, I like it.
You don't seem to love it.
No, I do love it.
I think you like it because you're a big Reddit guy, and I could just see. I've learned a lot about Frank, especially
Just painting this idea
in the last month or so, where you don't really sleep, right? Like when we were landing into Manchester, you were awake at 2 a.m. local time, 3 a.m. In fact, you came. We chronicled this last week. You decided to come to the studio. You don't really sleep, so I think you're like a dark web type of guy, and I think this taps.
Wow.
Does this tap into that?
Oh my God. I like reading what people say. I like telling a narrative through. You know, I
Yeah.
told you I like editing.
Yeah.
Not when you shit on it on the first question.
No, I know that was but we have answered the 300 a lot. No.
I mean, yeah, but that, everyone gets their chance to ask something.
Sure. No, you're right.
Especially when they have something else that they're trying to say, in these times where I think it's important to hear those things.
No, you're right. Well, I think you've done a great job. Do you want to continue?
Look at this lower third.
Oh wow, look at that. There it is.
That's
Oh,
great.
I hate that logo. Why did they have to do that?
Okay,
It's
so
so
we going
ugly.
back to the bird? Or?
Well, you know what I liked, and I think New York Rick. Actually, you know what? Maybe GC would appreciate this the most. What I hate is what was good about the bird. It was just the logo. So it fits seamlessly. The X with the black around it makes it feel like a GeoCities website. You know what I mean? I don't know if that means
Shout
anything
out.
to you. Like
Angel Fire.
it doesn't feel. It feels like it's like a circle into a square. It just doesn't feel like it flows. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it looks off a bit.
It looks off. Even the X, by the way, is not a nice looking X. Like, could they have made it like just a nicer looking X?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is stupid.
And I feel like they didn't think this through. Like, Twitter, tweet. Okay, like what is X? What do you say?
You X'd it.
You X'd it or you posted it?
Yeah, you
just-
posted it on X. What do you call on Instagram? A post on Instagram?
Post on IG.
Yeah, post on IG. Nice. Post on
did.
X.
It just doesn't feel the same.
We have to embrace change.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously doesn't feel the same because it's not the same. It's different now.
Yeah, it used
So,
to be one thing, now it's another thing.
All right.
But no,
well,
I would like to continue to
Okay.
moderate the questions.
what was that?
I was gonna say just like the Elon Musk like obsession with the letter X is
Bizarre?
Yeah, it's
Is it
bizarre.
interesting
Yeah,
or
it's
is it like?
interesting.
Yeah.
Just weird.
Elon hater Frank? Huh?
No, I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Is X doing okay though?
I
New York
have no
Rick?
clue.
No, I feel like New York Rick.
Oh, yeah,
Like
yeah.
this is his thing.
Yeah, I mean, as we've long kind of figured out by now, all reports of its demise were kind of premature. Like every step along the way, it's been this thing's sinking. The latest news, I suppose, is there appears to be a plan in place, and it is being tested in other countries that every user will have to pay $1 per year.
Yeah, what is up with
Um,
that? What is that? Like every single user,
it's
or
a
only
mo-
new users?
No, every user, it's a money raising effort, but it's also there's a practical thing that it does, which is prevents bots, right? Because you're not going to pay $1 per bot to use the platform. So the intention is to limit the number of bots and make sure that there's genuine users on the platform. Which again, at $1 per year, people are going to gripe, I'm not paying for this thing, I'm out of here, and then everything's fine, and it's the same. Life goes on. Like the moaning about it is just insufferable.
Subway ride costs $2.90 these days.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
$1 a year.
Do you know that? Do you think Elon waited to change the name until after the Twitter files because he couldn't call them the X files? I just thought about that now. Like,
That's
Yeah, you saw
great.
that on
I
a
didn't think of
Reddit
that.
post.
I
You saw that on a
literally thought
Reddit
about that
post.
just
Come
now.
on.
Wow, did you see that on Reddit?
That's great.
Yeah.
honestly,
80%
thought
of
it
what
right
Frank
now.
says is just
You know,
regurgitating Reddit posts.
I don't have
Yeah.
enough middle fingers.
Which is your favorite Reddit? By the way, how is it possible we don't have a Reddit?
Oh, come on.
What?
You do have one,
I
actually.
mean, everybody's
Reddit.
favorite
We
Reddit
even
is
have
the
someone
same.
that
We all know.
has a username that's your name.
I feel like we it's a little disappointing. Maybe my Substack is our Reddit, and we don't need a
Yeah,
Reddit.
I think it is.
Okay, fine.
I mean, we have a Reddit. There's a home
There is
home
one
base
Reddit.
Okay,
that we have.
okay, all right. I just feel like we shouldn't be mooching off someone else's. Yeah, do we need to be
There
mooching
you
off
go.
someone else's Reddit? Can we have our own? Or maybe it's best that we don't have our own because we don't want the people turning on us.
Yeah, maybe we've seen what happens when you get your own Reddit.
Have you ever done this? Where it actually looks real. You see that? It
You
looks.
feeling all right, bud?
It looks like it's wobbly.
Yeah.
You see that?
Ariel Helwani
was
discovers
in the
that this could be a whole series.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You could get many more of these videos on the channel, so please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.